back. Hopefully, we're on the air out there. that was that was quite the festivities we had going on. Yeah. Oh man. So back to Erik Karlsson, I think is the issue at hand. What do you think? Do you think that's possible, or are we just pie in the sky here?
I was just thinking about what it would take. Like, so let's say they retain 50%. That's 5.75 because Carlson's at 11.5 million. So like, I think moving Barry makes sense there because you got a guy who can step onto your step onto your top unit power play, and that's $4.5 million out the window right there. So you would need another 1.25 out the door. So maybe a Derek Ryan, maybe a Matthias Janmark, maybe it's a Pugliarvi that goes to San Jose with Barry, right? But I just don't know what the Sharks want because I heard the reported asking price was like 3 first-rounders, another equivalent first-round prospect, or it involved 3 first-rounders. So like I don't know if the Sharks are wanting to take on a whole bunch of cap space or like a whole bunch of roster players. Like they want to get their rebuild going.
Some stranger pipes up, you got this going finally. So I was trying today to actually stream in 4K, like bring you the heat with image quality and sound quality and all that. And I thought we were having an issue with that, but really I think it's just an issue with not streaming to Twitter. Some stranger says you got this going finally, and yeah, it was a little frustrating, but yeah. 3 first-rounders does not sound to me like a trade that Ken Holland's going to be licking his chops to pull the trigger on. I know we're going all in, but that sounds like a little bit more than Ken's probably willing to go, I would think. But yeah, who knows? That possibility excites me. You say you weren't, like, before we shut down, you said you weren't too thrilled about that. What you saw at the All-Star game, but I thought Karlsson was really, really looking to try to get McDavid and Leon going, and probably a little too much, overthinking it a little bit. He scored a kind of a nice wrister. The guy can shoot the puck, but it didn't look like he was, willing to be, the gunslinger, so to speak, at the All-Star game. And I thought actually Draisaitl was pulling back and covering for Karlsson, so I did see like a little bit of them working together. But was it instant chemistry? No, probably not. But it did look like those guys wanted to play with each other to me.
I mean, it's I don't know how much we can really glean from a 3-on-3 All-Star game and how they'll work together 5-on-5 in an NHL regular season or playoff setting. But I mean, it's a tantalizing idea. Like, it's definitely an exciting thought for sure. It's just just from a realist's perspective, I just don't know how it works and if it's the right thing in the long-term plan. Because like I've always stuck to wanting to win now and down the road. Right, so trading 3 first-round picks at a time when you're going to need young players contributing on their ELC before the cap goes up in the next little while here, I think that's a tough pill to swallow. But adding Karlsson, it could be the last piece we need or one of the last pieces we need. So it's one of those very tough questions.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it. Like that would be interesting for sure. And I think it makes you win games probably 7-5 instead of 3-1. Is kind of what I said earlier. It turns it into 80s Oilers hockey, and personally I'd be all for that. With the emergence of Desharnais, maybe the need for that shutdown defender has kind of been answered a little bit. Things will change once playoffs start and all that, but the notion of Karlsson does intrigue me.
Yeah, you could argue he's an upgrade on Nurse even as their top pairing defense, as the top guy on the Oilers, which I have all day. I have tons of time for that argument.
Yeah.
But my concerns with Karlsson would be potentially blocking Bouchard's path to becoming the top pairing B, which I still think he can do, but obviously not right this second. You're paying a lot for years 33 to 36 for Karlsson, which is those aren't ideal years to be paying for anybody.
No,
Karlsson being an elite player, so it may be a different story, but I'm not a huge fan of paying that kind of ask or that kind of cost for those years of a player's career.
I think it definitely signals, a win now mode for sure.
It does, yeah.
If you're going that route,
you'd have to rebuild your whole right side, though. Essentially, almost Barry would have to go 100%. But if Barry doesn't go to San Jose, and San Jose wants something else, then it's a whole separate trade that you got to do mid-season. How much reconstruction do you want to do on your right side mid-season?
Yeah, is Karlsson a righty though, or is he play left shot?
No, he's a righty.
Is he? Okay. Well,
yeah.
I guess yeah. That's your big right shot D. Well then, I mean that's I don't know if I would pair him and Nurse together. I think I would stagger that, and then you've got either one of those guys potentially on the ice all night.
Yeah, that's valid too. But who are the best pairings to go with them? Do you put Kulak with Karlsson? You put Broberg with Karlsson? I mean, Broberg and Karlsson, that'd be teams wouldn't be able to retrieve pucks on us. Both of those guys are such good skaters and they move the puck so well.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing at the emergence of Karlsson's legs that way.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was thinking he was done, that was it, right?
Yeah, that regression, it scares me. This season's been unbelievable for him, but I think the Brent Burns effect is real, and I think Brent Burns was the focal point of that team, and that was Erik Karlsson was kind of playing in his shadow for those few seasons, and I don't know if it was the Achilles keeping him down, or if it was just the Brent Burns effect, or what. But whatever it was, it's working this year. So I'm just scared of a potential regression after paying all that capital and all that money, or whatever you want to call it, for years 33 to 36.
I'm still having a little bit of an issue here trying to get the chat up so you can actually see it, Ryan, but we got a comment in here saying that Sean in Calgary says, I would think Barry, Fogle, and Puljujärvi would be gone. That's a lot of depth without accounting for all the picks prospects. I think I got her back here for you.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the big reasons I've been against the Chychrun deal as well. Just to squeeze them onto the cap or under the cap, you're going to have to give up a lot of depth from your roster in other places, and that would be more the case with Karlsson. So, how much is the net gain in the end? Yeah, you gain Karlsson, but what do you lose at the same time?
People just coming on here. Epiphany said, did we have technical difficulties getting the stream going? LOL. Slightly, yeah. I tried to stream this in 4K, and I thought that was causing issues, but really I think the issues with everything today were caused by Twitter. It's still gimping out saying unable to connect, and then it says connect, and it'll say streaming for a second, and it's just glitching out bad on me here. So Elon Musk, if you're listening to our show, fix your shit. And hopefully the chat will start to actually show what people are saying here. If that doesn't work, I don't know what's going on, but it's on there. Stats: McDavid, 1 goal, 1 primary assist on the shorty, secondary assist on Hyman, power play goal, penalty shot, 1 goal for Hyman, yeah, and Derek Ryan with the other shorty. McLeod had the other one. Puljujärvi with the game winner, and Evander Kane with a little bit of a brouhaha with Brady Tkachuk, which surprised me. I guess we said this earlier, but probably nobody heard.
Yeah. My one thought on that, like, I don't know how that fight started. I don't know why they were chatting earlier in the game, but I part of me wonders if it was anything that had to do with what Kane and Matthew Tkachuk had going on in the Battle of Alberta last year. Words were exchanged. I don't know what was said, but I don't know if Brady felt the need to come to Matty's defense or what that's all about. But it seemed kind of arbitrary. Like, I didn't see much happening between them early in the game. Did you?
No. Something tells me that was Brady Tkachuk trying to get his team into it, because I think at the time that happened, it was 3-1.
Yeah.
And he was just trying to fire up his team, and Kane obliged probably just to see if he could. Rashog tweeted out that doctors were saying that eventually Kane should be able to get into a fight. Well, I guess the eventually stage of his comeback was today.
Yeah,
and I
he said it's going to be a long time till it's up to 100% strength if it ever gets back there. So I mean, I suppose just play, right?
He buckled.
That's how Kane plays.
He buckled Brady, and Brady just kind of took advantage of him losing his balance after Brady was falling down already. So I would give the nod in that little dust up to Evander. I think we pissed off our Facebook viewers that we had doing this reboot here, but we got one person watching on Twitch and 5 on YouTube. So seem to, when we do these live streams, have better viewership or really viewership at all off of YouTube anyway. So we can keep this thing going, but kind of unfortunate that we started and then kind of had our training wheels fall off our bike and we crashed and had to re-get it going.
Yeah,
but
I love technology sometimes.
The game in Philadelphia, like I said earlier, I didn't see it all, but I was watching kind of on my phone as my son was playing, and then listened to Stauffer and Cam Moon. And what I did see, I thought we were an unorganized group and really didn't have our legs in that one. I think in Detroit, Campbell kind of stole that game a little bit too. I think we got a little bit fortunate there. I think it was a better outing than the one in Philly for sure, though. But today, I mean, right out of the gate, McDavid and Kane and Puljujärvi, Puljujärvi was set up for a one-timer that he sort of just fanned on a little bit. He got some on it, but I don't think he got everything he wanted on it. But that was a good look right out of the gate, and I thought we just put the hammer down early today and really, it was 3-3 for a bit, but I think Ottawa's fortunate to be at that spot. Like I said, the second goal on Campbell, I think he'd like it back. But today, I think they played, a great game, and we saw a bit of everything. I mean, a fight, some big checks. I hope Klim Kostin is okay. I haven't heard an update on him, but, he went down there for a little bit. Goalie got hurt, which was unfortunate, but I don't think that was our fault. I think Hyman kind of got cross-checked in behind. And there was a bit of a spear that he took after that, actually, too. Like, he gathered himself and got back up. And then he took a little bit of a jab in the ribs. And you're doing that kind of shit and your goalie gets hurt. Like, it's kind of stupidity. And I don't like that. I didn't bring this up before, but I thought Nurse actually had a really strong game today. CC left him out to dry on a ton of 2-on-1s, and I thought he did a good job. Yeah, he kind of cleaned the ice a few times on some of them, but he didn't really have a choice. I mean, and he didn't overcommit to the shooter. I think he let Campbell handle the shooter and really took away the kind of backdoor tap-ins on those, and on all those 2-on-1s. Ottawa didn't cash on any of them, so I thought he had a real strong game. Kind of some subtle shot blocks too with his stick. Like, he's getting better at that game by game. I made a joke, like, kind of on Twitter, that it was much to the chagrin of Don Cherry, because he'd always say, "Don't get your stick in the way." But
It used to drive me nuts.
Yeah,
One of the many reasons I was happy to see Don Cherry off the air.
I mean, if you can deflect it cleanly out of the way and the goalie doesn't even have to make a save, I think you're making his night a little easier.
Yep. Yeah, for how often it goes in off the stick and versus how often it goes out of play, or you break the play up, get the stick in there.
Yeah.
I think you're right on Nurse, though. I think he had a decent day, and the value in Nurse isn't just the even strength offense and his size. He makes a lot of good plays defensively that people just don't notice or choose to overlook. So, yeah, Nurse had a great day, and lots of good to talk about with Darnell for sure.
Yeah. I thought that was one of his better defensive outings, really, in recent memory for me, for sure. Yeah, I can't pick him apart, but I didn't like what CC was doing today. Like, I think it was 4 or 5 2-on-1s that Nurse was back there by himself, trying to do his job, and that, to me, in one hockey game, that's too many. You can live with 1 or 2, but it was not good. Desharnais, quietly effective again. That guy's a machine.
Yeah, like you said earlier, he's that physical shutdown defender we need. It's just we gotta take the training wheels off him a little bit and get him a little bit more ice and just see how he handles it. How does he do against some elite competition? How does he do against some of the middling guys in the league? Like we got to find that answer out, especially before we do anything drastic on the right hand side.
I'm not exactly sure why the chat isn't working there, but it's thanks everybody on YouTube for chiming in. There's Epiphany off of YouTube says it's when Nurse takes the knee that I want to take a hammer to them. I don't see Nurse kneeing people, but maybe that's just me. And he says Epiphany with Vinny, we at least don't lose and get a point. Yeah, so we've gotten points in every game that he's played.
Yeah, we haven't lost in regulation since Vinny came in.
Yeah, so I think he earns another day.
I'm sure he'll lose in regulation at some point in his career. Let's not go crazy, but yeah, it's a great story, and he's been very effective for the team. And I don't know what it is. We just seem to do better when we're 11-7 versus 12-6.
Let's go down the hypothetical highway here a little bit, and if you have a choice, let's get rid of the hang-ups, but if you had a choice between Karlsson and Chychrun, which way do you lean?
Just in a pure hypothetical, which player, which fit do I like better? Yeah. I would say Karlsson.
Yeah.
I think it's the more difficult trade to pull off, but I like Karlsson as a player more than I like Chychrun.
To me, that's really like all in, because you're gonna have to give up a lot to get that, and the fact that we're hearing about it is interesting. That means they're circling back to that. So I wonder if they think like it's not like the harder trade to pull off versus Chychrun, or they just rather, if they're gonna expend 2 firsts, go in on that big fish and then I think if you do that, you really do have the blue line that can challenge Colorado a little bit more and put them on their heels a little bit more with your ability to transition the puck. I mean, everybody talks about Karlsson's skating, but he's a good passer too. So I'm excited if that's even like in the wheelhouse at all. That does excite me, that idea even.
Yeah, it really does. Just another puck moving offensive defenseman. It sounds like more of what we already have and not like what we need. But he's an upgrade on the top pairing, and he who would put a big thing would be getting CC off that top pair with Nurse, like you talked about today. He wasn't any good, and I don't think that pairing has been good enough for what you'd expect a top pairing to be on an elite NHL team. And you like Darnell Nurse there, as do I. And CC's the guy that's kind of the imposter on the top pairing there. So like, I think the long-term plan is to have Bouchard go past him, but I mean, there might be a conversation to be had about what Bouchard's ceiling is. Yeah. And they might be having that conversation internally if they're going to go get Erik Karlsson, who's got another 3 years left on the deal.
I wonder too, like, you know, who becomes expendable if you're wheeling that hard? You know, is it CC? Is it Kulak? Is it, you know, who's the odd man out kind of thing? And because you're going to have to, you know, give up something significant to San Jose, and maybe, you know, if they're retooling, if Timo Meier's on the way out and Karlsson's on the way out, maybe it's a complete youth movement in San Jose, and they do want, you know, some young guys. So I think trading Bouchard could be something that comes back to bite you, and I also think trading Broberg could be something that comes back to bite you. So, you know, who's left? It just, how old is Kulak? Is he like 28? Or is he?
Yeah, I think Kulak is. I think 28 sounds right. 1 year after his UFA year.
Yeah.
Like what Ken Holland said, if you listen to the language carefully on the broadcast against Philly, like Principe interviewed Holland in his first intermission, and Ken Holland said he could upgrade, couldn't add, he could upgrade.
Right.
Right. So what shape does that upgrade take? Is it Karlsson over Barry? Is it Chychrun over Kulak or Broberg? Is it a Kane over Yamamoto? Is it another depth forward over another depth forward? Like, it's hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what route they go. I mean, I think, you know, to really challenge here, I think they do need to address their D, and I do think that, you know, not sure he's going to waive. I think you have to waive his trade hang-ups to come, but that Taves idea, I think that, you know, because then that you can take Nuge off of centering a line and you can make him a winger, and I think that really can bolster your top six.
Yeah, whether you want to put Taves in a top six left wing role or whether you want to put Nuge there and have the other centering a third line, doesn't matter. Six of one, half dozen of the other. But that makes your top six better, and it makes your third line better.
Yeah, I mean, that does give you some flexibility when it comes to that too.
But the issue in the top six is the right side. Like, you got Hyman, you got Kane on the left, but the right side, what do you do there? You ship Draisaitl up to play with Connor, and then that leaves your second line weaker. You can move Hyman over, and then he's playing in a spot that's not comfortable for him. You got Yamamoto, who's in and out of the lineup and not being effective. You got Puljujärvi, who's not pissing a drop this year. You got Derek Ryan, who just doesn't make sense up there. So, like, I think it makes. That's why I'm thinking if there's a way to get Patty Kane, if you're swinging big, that's a way to go. But his hip issue, right? It's like it doesn't seem like there's a perfect solution at the deadline for the Oilers this year, but there's some intriguing options for sure.
We got the old scrolling text. I'm trying to edit some shit on the fly here, but it's not being my friend. Oh, what a day. Sorry, everybody. Amateur hours back at Straight Off the Pipe.
Yeah, shot today went straight off the pipe.
Yeah. So tomorrow in Montreal, and Montreal, like, if you listen to George Larac on Oilers Now, is a total disarray, and it's the end of the world in Montreal, but you know, they've got some young talent there, and they can do some things still. So I wouldn't say it's a win just yet. You know, they're gonna have to play another solid game, and, you know, not.
Yeah, it's an easy part of our schedule, but can't take any of these teams lightly or take them for granted. Like, yeah, Montreal's young, but they got some quality players and they got some speed and some youth and some enthusiasm. And Marty St. Louis, the way he coaches, like he doesn't put a leash on anybody. He lets them go play. So you just never know what guys are going to do. Like Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, those guys can cause some damage. So gotta be careful.
Yeah, no, they can play. That youth movement there, and Kirby Dach's another good player. So.
Oh yeah.
I think I got it somewhat figured out there. It's all stretched weird, but that'll work.
Yes.
Oh, amateur hour today. That's okay. I've seen Rashog on Got Your Back have some technical glitches with Strudwick, and then he has to have a picture of Struds up there, and they're usually not very flattering. So, I
sound right.
Yeah. So I got to select you this year for the Heavy Hockey Showdown. That excites me.
Yeah, I saw that I made the cut for your team there. That's exciting.
And there was a minor trade made today. Hebert talked me into trading It's Sean with a U and the rights to draft Dash potentially next year for a young ex-junior player from up here in Glen Hamilton. If Michael's watching, then we're in trouble. But because I made it sound like I got fleeced, but I think I fleeced him.
Yeah, I don't think you have any intention of drafting Dash, do you?
Well, he's made it hard for me to want to take him. Yeah. And I'm sure the jawing back and forth is just getting going, so it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. If you guys haven't seen yet on Twitter and Facebook, there's been posts from basically everybody that's going to be playing and some of the committee members for helping to contribute, donate some money or any items you think people would want at our silent auction, and all the proceeds go to SACE, which is the Edmonton Center for Sexual Assault. So we're trying to help them this year. You know, every year or every time we've had a previously Oilers Live Cup, we've kind of raised money for various charities, and this year it's going to SACE. And we're trying to help as much as we can. Very serious subject for a not so very serious game, but if you can help out, that would be appreciated. So there's 8 people on YouTube and 1 on Twitch currently, so we've upped our audience a little bit from when we started and from the 0 that we had when we first started this going. But probably won't keep people here too much longer. We're I guess only about a half an hour in, but maybe another 15 minutes or so of Oilers talk. So the Karlsson stuff's interesting. Getting a win today was great, and on to Montreal tomorrow to try to duplicate this effort. And another 10:30 a.m. Alberta start puck drop, and I think it was relatively close to that when the puck actually was dropped today. Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow, so I don't think people are going to be complaining too much. Are you a Super Bowl guy, or?
Oh yeah, I'll be watching.
Got a horse in the race, or just want to watch the game?
I like both teams, to be honest with you. Like, I'll probably be cheering for KC. They've been my number 2 team for quite a few years, but the Eagles are pretty high up on my list too. But yeah, I'll be cheering for the Chiefs tomorrow.
Yeah. My guy decided to pack it in and shut her down, and I think this time it's actually for real. So I'm kind of a free agent and scouting for a new team to pay attention to, because I lived in like an hour and a half from Boston when I was in grade 11, so I followed the Patriots, from then till basically until Tom went to Tampa Bay. I promised myself I wasn't going to make the same mistake with him that I kind of made with Gretzky when he went to LA, and Michael Jordan when he retired and went back to Washington. Like, really, the most fond memory I have of Wayne when he was a LA King was actually being at a game at Northlands Coliseum with my dad and being there for the night that he broke Gordy's record. So
Cool.
I cherish that memory. And honestly, that was the only time I saw Wayne play live. So that's something I cherish. But the rest of his time in LA, I wasn't really all in on making sure I watched. And when Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, I promised myself I wasn't going to make the same mistake because you never know when it's going to end. And, I think it's over now. So scouting for a new football team to get on board with. And I certainly like the way Patrick Mahomes can scramble. And, I mean, Travis Kelce is probably the closest facsimile to Rob Gronkowski that there is. I don't mind watching those two. It's kind of a similar thing, but I haven't fully went all in on them. But I hope for a competitive game. I'm not sure I'm a big Philadelphia Eagles fan, but they had an impressive run this year. I just don't think they played really too many good teams late, so this could be an interesting game or a tough game for them.
Like the NFC was pretty weak this year. Like it was pretty wide open because it was so weak. But the Eagles were definitely the class of that conference. But they haven't faced anything like what they're going to face against KC, and anything like what KC had to face on the way up here.
Yeah.
I love the Eagles, what they're doing. Like Jalen Hurts is a fantastic quarterback. AJ Brown is a beast, and like Devontae Smith's great. Like, they're getting good performance out of Miles Sanders this year, and their running back committee with Boston Scott. They got a couple of Gainwell too. He's been unreal in the playoffs. So it's going to be a good game. Like I think it'll be tight.
I'm thinking George Laraque's probably attending the game tomorrow in Montreal.
I would think so, probably.
Yeah, so we can talk about it on Stauffer Show next Thursday.
Yeah.
Last season he talked almost every show about our need to change our goaltending, and I'm glad we give him a different topic for discussion this year. For a while this year it was talking about team toughness, but I think we've addressed that, and it's amazing how much different the team played as soon as Kane kind of came back. And and I don't think that was all on Kane himself, because until today he didn't really play that super brash physical brand of hockey, I don't think. But it's like everybody grew 6 inches as soon as he got back. And just before he got back, I think was that game in LA when, I think it was Costin, Puljujärvi, and Hyman all got into it. But as soon as he came back, it's like a switch turned on, and the whole team kind of grew and kind of got their swagger back. And, honestly, I think him coming to this team last year sort of coincided with Woody. And it's almost like they're a dynamic duo. They're Batman and Robin. Like when there's Woody on the bench and Kane a part of the lineup, I think we're just a different team. And I don't think it's all on Evander Kane, but they're just certainly different when he's in their lineup.
I think this time around, that growth process you're talking about, where everyone's 6 inches taller now, I think that started. I think Costin had more to do with that than Kane did. Just in terms of like guys standing up for each other. But it started before that Kings game. I think Costin had another fight or two before that. But I think just the nature of Kane's injury, the way it happened and how long he was out, I think that probably weighed on the guys a little bit. And him coming back was just like a weight lifted off their shoulders. It was just a relief to have him back. You've been with the guys for a long time, but it's just a relief to have him back in the lineup. And then that slots some guys back where they needed to be slotted. You don't have a guy that shouldn't be in the top 6 having to play in the top 6 because Kane was out, and balance is restored, and they start winning.
I'm just going to try one thing here that might get the chat going. Just refresh the cache, and hopefully that'll go. that 50-50 only for Alberta. Yeah, I think the Oilers 50-50 is just an Alberta
unfortunately.
thing. Yeah. End of the show will come and we'll finally get the chat up so you can see it, Lotsy.
Yeah, you're the moderator here. I appreciate everyone chiming in, but I'll let you moderate the chats. That's all good.
What position do you normally play? I guess going back to the March 4th.
Yeah, so honestly, most of my life I was playing wing. Like I do better at left wing than I do at any other forward position. But also a while here, I've been playing a lot of defense this season, and I think I seem to be doing decently well at that. So like I feel comfortable anywhere, honestly. But either left wing or D.
Yeah, that's like me and Hebert next year. We gotta ask people for their preferred position and get all their stats so we can make the draft a little bit more fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do some pre-scouting.
You know, I think it was only about 35 minutes our draft show, or maybe even shorter than that, and it was actually a hoot. It was actually one of the more fun shows that I've done.
Yeah, I'm sad I missed that. I didn't even know what was happening until I saw the list come up on Twitter. I was like, oh, that happened.
Yeah, well, Dash was pushing us to do it, and he's kind of mentioning in the chat, can we do the draft tonight? Can we do the draft tonight? And then me and Hubert kind of said, yeah, okay, but it was sort of a late response, and then he never saw it because he was putting his little man to bed, and I think he crashed with him, and so he missed it. Well,
dang.
That refreshing the chat didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything?
No. Epiphany says, is pylon an official position? I'm in a powered wheelchair and tend to just sit and spin a lot. Yeah. There's all different skill levels that play in these, and we don't really make fun of anybody. It's just a fun game, and we rib each other and we want to win like the big dogs, but really it's just a fun game. It gets kind of competitive. Like the last one actually went into overtime, and if you guys know I Am Beaks on Twitter, Ryan Bichkowski, he actually hit his brother, and he was standing over him, and his brother was laying on the ice, and I went by and I was just laughing because I thought they were just kidding around, and they were standing there for a while, and Ryan just kept standing over top of him. I thought they were just joking, and it was a big bit, but he actually cracked a couple of his brother's ribs in the game. His brother finished the game, and he scored the overtime winner, so those two actually really took it seriously. But yeah, I thought it was a bit the whole time, but
I played in that last one too. Like it was a fun game for sure. Like it did get competitive, and like it was tense. Like it was good fun.
Yeah, and when we do these drafts, I don't know everybody that's in it, so some guys sort of fly under the radar and they turn out to be ringers, and you don't know what you're getting. Like it's crazy, but
yeah, that adds some intrigue to it too. You just don't know how it's all going to shake out. So it'll be fun. Like it's lighthearted, it's friendly, but at the same time, a lot of us do know each other, and we all want to win. We're all competitive, so the competitive juices will be flowing for sure.
If you're tuning in there, most people I think are on YouTube. Still one person on Twitch, and we just jumped up to 8 on YouTube. And Facebook is quiet, and still Twitter is going in and out of being able to connect and not connect, and it's just a mess. If you have any questions, fire away. There's still, I think, 2 spots left. Like we're down to 2, and I think one of them will go to Hebert and one of them will go to me. I think that's kind of where it's at. Making that trade for being able to pick up Hamilton, so I lost 1 and gained 1. So, yeah, I've got 1 spot to fill left. Michael might actually have 2. because I went one up on him. There's another lady that's on our team. I forget the name. I should have done a little bit more of my research, but actually I can probably find it pretty quick here. So yeah, and we played the one time in Calgary, and there was actually there was 2 full lines, like one for each team of ladies that were playing.
Okay.
And they were actually, they showed up, some of the guys, like they were pretty good.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
What's her name? Oh, come on. I'll find it here. One sec. She's actually played, I think, university hockey too.
Nice.
Oh, come on. Emma Walden. I believe she played in Saskatchewan.
She'll probably be better than me, I'll say that much.
Yeah. I'm not. Sorry, I'm unprepared, but I might be mistaken it, but I believe U of S is what I was told, maybe. So yeah, there'll be some entertaining stuff will happen for sure, and with the mix of talent that's on the ice from shift to shift, you never know what you're really going to get. And I'm sure Dash is going to try to line me up for a hip check or two, and I'll probably do the same. And maybe
friendly fire.
Maybe even gently clutch and grab a little, and maybe a little more. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to it. And yeah, he's smaller, so he might have a shot at taking my knees out, and so I'll have to keep my head up, which sometimes is a challenge for me. But oh man. But you play with him.
You'll be good.
You play with him on the regular, so you can probably give us a scouting report in the room prior.
Yeah, no, from what I've seen, both, Dash and Jeff, both decent, solid players. So nothing critical to say about them at all.
Any thoughts on tomorrow?
I was a little worried coming into the weekend. Like I just keep waiting for us to have a game where we're just lackadaisical and lose to a team that we should beat. But I figured it would come today. Honestly, I didn't think we would beat Ottawa. Ottawa had been playing well before their break, but I guess that didn't pan out the way I thought it would, which is great. Yeah, I think they have their sea legs underneath them finally after the All-Star break and their shenanigans over the break. Like I saw Bush and McLeod and Holloway having some fun over the break, which is great for them. But yeah, it's good to see them also get their legs back underneath them. Always get a quality win today, and I'm expecting another win tomorrow. You never know what happens.
Can we put the Draisaitl as injured to bed now?
Yeah, everybody goes through their ups and downs in the season, even the best players in the game. So I think Dry's probably fine. Maybe he's not 100%. I don't know many guys that probably are 100% at this point in the year. But Dry will be fine.
Yeah, no, he looked like that horse again. That's willing to carry people and enforce his will on a game. Like, yeah, I think he's all right.
Yeah.
Potentially tomorrow morning, I'll get on this again before the game. I was trying to do that today, but some things were messed up, and then post game some things were messed up. I'm gonna go back to the lab sometime during the day here and see what the hell was actually going on. I seemed to work to Facebook and Twitch and YouTube just fine, but Twitter was a disaster, so I might try to be able to stream in 4K tomorrow morning again. I don't know if that threw the monkey wrench into this. I somehow don't think so. I think it's just some glitch along the way, but thanks for coming on. And I haven't heard back from Dash. I might have him in the morning, or I might be looking for a sidekick, or I might just go solo if everybody's busy. But thanks everybody for tuning in. It was a little bit of a rough one today, but we got one in the can, as they say. Thanks.
Yeah, pull out a W, even though it wasn't a Picasso, but we got the W.
Thanks for coming on, Lotsy. Anything you want to promote or anything up and coming or that?
Just give a little love to Jeff Ade, who put out an article about his Buffalo Sabres today. So give that a read over at Heavy Hockey. I've got an article about the Tarasenko trade coming up. We'll see if I can get it out today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. That's all I got in the can right now, but I'm doing content every week, so just keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, broke away from the nonstop Oilers onslaught with Jeffrey putting out a Sabres article today. So if you want to check out another team that's kind of on the rise in the Eastern Conference, give Jeff's article a look-see. Dash just put out an article the other day as well. And Bruce McCurdy, the legend, the man, the myth, the stargazer, is setting HeavyHockey.com on fire with his article on Philip Broberg. So you can give that one a look if you haven't already. I think that's a bit of a timeless article. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to read it right now. It's good today, tomorrow, and a few days into the future. I'm not working on anything right now. I'm working on this stream. I'm trying to get it streamlined. Kind of sharpening things up with kind of some background stuff and all that. Getting my feet wet in DaVinci Resolve and some video editing stuff. And gently going to be working on this new sort of podcast room downstairs here and trying to modernize that. And when I get it where I need to get it to, I'll give people a little bit of a tour. But we're probably about a year away from that being sort of game, set, match. But as I go along here and kind of spruce it up, I'll give you more of an inside tour. There's a bit of a disaster going on, but some things are starting to happen gently. So we'll keep that up. And I'll have kind of the man cave podcast room ready to fly. Above my head is the Oilers signed stick from the last silent auction that we had. My lovely fiance bought that bad boy for me, and I believe Colby Cave's signature is actually on that thing. So I was really ticked off when my one son decided to tape it up and try to use it for some pond hockey.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had to rescue that thing from some black tape, and luckily the signatures didn't go with, but I was not a happy father that day.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, so anyway, this room's going to come along, and we're going to modernize it, and I'll show it as I kind of get it going. It's a bit of a disaster and that right now, but it's coming along. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Keep your sticks on the ice. Keep reaching for the stars. And the plan is to see you tomorrow morning before the Oilers take on the Habs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.